My last video argued that we need a component of nuclear energy in our repertoire of energy sources if we're going to achieve the massive decrease in carbon emissions necessary to halt global warming. We saw that nuclear power plant construction ramped up in the 1960s and especially in the 1970s. But something happened after the late 1980s and construction decreased dramatically. There are about 450 nuclear reactors in the world today, with only 55 currently under construction. 11 of those are in China and only 2 are in the United States. Why did an industry that was steadily growing, providing a rising proportion of our energy needs with zero carbon emissions, suddenly undergo a dramatic downturn? Some attribute the decline in growth to the 1976 Three Mile Island accident and to the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear accident in the Ukraine. And accidents are a very serious consideration in the future of nuclear power. These did cause tremendous and well-founded concern in our society about nuclear power. While the 3 Mile Island incident did not directly result in deaths, the Chernobyl accident directly led to the deaths of 37 people, and future deaths from excessive cancers due to radiation exposure are a matter of guesswork. But several more pedestrian and less sensational factors played a role as well. During the 1970s and 1980s, building costs rose, partly due to the implementation of new standards and regulation, and fossil fuel prices fell, making nuclear construction less economically competitive. Unless you're interested in the economic and business aspects of the industry, another kind of boring-sounding transition occurred in the United States and Europe called electricity liberalization. I won't belabor this because I'm already getting away from the whole point of my making these videos, which is to talk about things that I find fascinating. But let us just say that nuclear plants are expensive to build, and for the nuclear industry the result of electricity liberalization was to alter the model from one in which monopolies were able to shift the risk and economic burden to consumers to one of primary stakeholders, largely multinationals, who were less willing to commit a large amount of upfront resources to projects that paid off over decades in uncertain energy markets. This is not to argue in favor of monopolies, but rather to make the point that it doesn't work to consider energy sources from a social or technological point of view alone. In our economic system, there's no getting away from the financial piece. So yes, this is more pedestrian and less sensational than meltdowns. Unless you consider the result, which was the promulgation of the fossil fuel industry and the hastening of climate change. And disaster, as we can all agree, is anything but pedestrian. We have 3 major problems to consider in nuclear: cost, accidents, and nuclear waste. Apologies for another gripping cliffhanger. But in the next video, we will take on these issues in an ongoing effort to ultimately answer the question, why do we need nuclear energy to save the planet? Be sure to subscribe. You can follow my Instagram, and thanks a lot for watching.